Right now, I want to turn with you to the federal government's record as this year ends. And if you keep track of these things in terms of the government calendar, the first session formally of this Congress is ending. So what has it achieved? Well, recently one Republican actually blurted out the Republican Congress's problem in a kind of public exasperation. It was on the House floor, no less.
One thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, one, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One. Anybody sitting in the complex, if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done.
Wow. That lays it out, and that is Republican Congressman Chip Roy, who is not some GOP critic. He's a pretty hardline conservative. He's brokered deals with the MAGA wing. That moment there came amidst the chaos of replacing Speaker McCarthy. And the facts and the numbers back up the story. This Congress spent about 132 weekdays skipping work in Washington, a large number, even as members say, well, they also work when they are back in their districts. Republicans' narrow majority spent more time fighting with itself over picking its own leader than any party or any Congress in history. You see there, about 3 weeks just haggling in votes to pick the first and second speaker, to pick two different speakers in under a year. So Congress is ending a year that began with McCarthy's humiliating march through 15 votes just to get the gavel, remember that? And then, of course, those clashes are more than a spectacle because they actually show something we want to get into right now as we end the year and take stock, that those House Republicans did not respond to their midterm fizzle with humility or some kind of reassessment. Remember, the reason that a small number of hardliners could make all that trouble was because voters, Americans, people like you who might be watching the news right now, really rejected many Republicans and the usual historical trends. But the party largely ignored that judgment and that very disappointing sort of red fizzle to just push harder to the right. And that is what brought on this fall's unusual 3-week quest to find their new speaker when they settled finally on a more Trump-friendly, more conservative leader in Mike Johnson.
A speaker has not been elected.
This dramatic day that is not turning out remotely the way Kevin McCarthy had hoped.
Look at somebody's holding somebody back. Look at that. Oh, somebody just held somebody back.
Kevin McCarthy celebrating a victory that almost didn't happen.
Kevin McCarthy going head-to-head with Congressman Matt Gaetz after the House Speaker worked with Democrats to avert a government shutdown.
Promising he will move this week to remove House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his role as Speaker of the House by fellow Republicans.
And on it went. The Republican chaos did not help, of course, Congress to get things done. In the periods between that infighting, we can show you the record. Congress did pass some of the kind of things that are really easy to pass, some ceremonial bills, naming government sites, some commemorative coins. But as the nation faced these challenges, from the post-pandemic adjustment to inflation to whether they're going to regulate new technology and artificial intelligence, a lot of things just didn't get touched, let alone passed. It's only about 40 bills that the House passed. Half of those became law through the Senate, which is less than other Congresses. Now, some of those big must-pass items did happen. We should note, for example, Republicans were able to get a debt suspension bill, which avoid a default. They got government funding done. They got some foreign funding for Ukraine, those kind of big-ticket items. But beyond the basics, we can say here, as we wrap up the year, this Congress has been noisy and chaotic and unproductive by any objective measure, including comparisons to recent Congresses. And then there's the politics. Republicans managed to draw attention to their thin margin, which, as I mentioned, is a product of the disappointing midterms, and their weak speaker, and then their hardliners and outcasts. In fact, for many Americans, the GOP expelling George Santos is probably one of the main headlines about Congress in the last few weeks as this first session ends. Now, that's the congressional record, as it were. And the Republicans have used their control of the House to thwart a lot of the Biden agenda, including all that stuff that's not in the must-pass items like spending. So you might say, okay, Ari, that's the House. Kind of fits what you'd heard or gathered, but those are the actual numbers. But is that the whole story in Washington? No. President Biden is finishing what is his third year in office, of course, and he has some problems that cannot be blamed solely on that uncooperative House. In fact, It's the House, of course, that is why, if you look at the numbers, President Biden's only signed about 20 bills into law, but his efforts to use executive power have also hit turbulence recently. Biden's program for student loans hit that wall with the Supreme Court this past summer. And look, voters, we know, judge presidents more by results than excuses. Blaming the court doesn't get you that far. And that may be a factor in the public turning on Biden's economic record. Look at this. Just 32% of Americans approve of him on that. His overall job approval is also at a low 37%, which is first-term Trump territory. Now, if you check, it's also lower than other presidents at this point in their first term, including the ones who were in their first term and got reelected. So that is a warning sign that can't be just minimized or blamed when it comes to what the Biden White House is up against. Now, as president, Biden has led a very inclusive cabinet, efforts to diversify the federal bench, which is an area where he can just make appointments. And he's really tried to embrace what, by historical standards, would be a pretty liberal coalition, apart from the more moderate reputation that he had decades ago. But critics still say he has not electrified a new sort of post-Trump coalition or found ways to do more than parry the Republican Party's authoritarian creep. In other words, some liberals say Biden is competent but not exciting, that he is far better than Trump, they argue, but not building towards the future in a way that they think confidently brings the party together, the young people together, and a coalition that they think can win long term. That's some of what we hear. Now, if that sounds a little vague or even like unfair criticism for these high-stake times when we hear so much about a possible dictatorship, well, that's exactly what the White House and Biden allies say. And they vow that Biden's numbers, based on a lot of trends from the local elections we've seen where Republicans underperformed, to the midterm fizzle, to issues around women's rights, they say when there are actual elections, they're doing just fine. And when there's an actual contrast with a GOP nominee next year, they'll do great. They're also touting America's economic rebound right now, which they dub Bidenomics. And I have news on that front tonight as well. Inflation's been falling, and now U.S. jobs continue surging, nearly 200,000 new jobs in November. So the once high unemployment rate is now down at historic lows, under 4%. And then you get to the question of where politics and facts meet or don't. We all kind of know we're in a time of relentless, turbocharged lies and a lot of right-wing propaganda. And the job market is a question of whether people are going to feel that or not. But it might be different than the big lie in the election, because it's hard to lie about things like jobs or the weather because people can see and feel it. One political analyst once put it quite simply, contrasting oppressive hate with the reality people can actually see for themselves. He said, better stay away from those that carry around a fire hose. You don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. If you remember that one, you know Bob Dylan was advising avoiding the racists with fire hoses and trusting your own eyes over the weathermen on TV or the political weathermen, double entendre, or even a little reference to the man who actually wrote Blowing in the Wind. Well, I don't want to get too lost in lyrical analysis. The point is, Biden allies think most people will know which way the economic winds are blowing. And some of those facts are getting out.
Today, these numbers, I think they're great.
It is a strength in the labor market. It's there. It's a resilient labor market.
On a good path towards low inflation and a cooling market.
Overall, you got to look at this report as a big positive. We've got more jobs created than expected.
And you might see there some of those jobs numbers breaking through even on the financial channels, Fox Business, and people can feel it themselves. And if you go beyond just today's news, those numbers are out today. Overall, the United States has added about 15 million jobs under Biden, far more than this same point under his predecessor and potential future challenger, former President Trump. So, if this is where the wind is blowing, do people know? And is it a contrast to a Republican Congress that spends as much time fighting some weeks as it does legislating?